A warm welcome back to today's aviation news. In this video, I'd like to take a look at some developments surrounding JetBlue. The COMAC C919 is stretching its wings further, and a prospective new aircraft order that looks destined to be decided in the coming weeks. Let's begin with JetBlue though, who are continuing with their bid to diversify their operations and also make necessary adjustments to their network by announcing a new crew base in San Juan. The US carrier says it'll bring more than 400 jobs to the region as it invests in becoming once more Puerto Rico's largest airline for the long term. The base will include pilots and also flight attendants and be the first outside the continental United States. Hence, it's a pretty big deal for the airline that firmly believes the Puerto Rico market is full of opportunities and they'll look to harness these with the new base. The crew announcement actually coincides with the celebration surrounding the 22nd anniversary of service to Puerto Rico. Slated to open by the end of the 2024 calendar year, JetBlue says that the base in time for 2025 will bring over 400 jobs, which should, yes, help benefit the community, but also the economic climate. The more than 400 crew makeup will include up to 120 pilots, with 325 flight crew members in the opening phases. The expectation, however, is that with time and the continued successful hiring of more employees, we'll see growth out there. JetBlue says the base will work by assigning pilots and crew members to begin their trips and also end them in San Juan. This is compared to the previous offering, where the crew started and ended their day elsewhere, where there's not necessarily anything wrong with this, but if you can find a way to make the operations into such an important location easier, well, you'll do it like this. Ultimately, once established, like I said, the base should enhance the airline's ability to offer scheduled services for a really important region. Where the focus will be on flights to and from Puerto Rico, there is also interest in growing across the Caribbean and to other nearby regions. This will all come with time, and it follows a month and a half ago when a recent expansion that the airline said would focus on 6 new destinations across the US East Coast, Latin America, and the Caribbean from San Juan. These flights, set to debut in July, will boost the airline's reach and bring greater levels of connectivity. When you also consider the airline is introducing its Mint experience to New York JFK, it's another step in elevating the premium travel experience for the market. Moving over to COMAC, who have been able to operate the C919 with China Eastern Airlines for the first time out of mainland China. The charter flight between Shanghai and Hong Kong took place on June 1. China Eastern says the service is really being operated as part of a larger project to carry students between the two locations, and while it's an important step for the airline, arguably it has greater ramifications on COMAC and the C919 aircraft. The carrier, which has taken on this aircraft type, is really trying to enter into a new era of its fleet. It hopes to grow its commitment from 6 units to more than 100 eventually. With such a strong commitment to the aircraft type, the airline knows that it's going to eventually need to expand its C919 usage away from the Chinese mainland, where it has previously been restricted. Moreover, expanding the destinations the C919 can visit will also be important for COMAC, who are attempting to compete with Airbus and Boeing. The manufacturer has pitted its aircraft portfolio, including the aforementioned C919, against the 2 leading manufacturers. However, concerns about COMAC's ability to compete with the leading alternatives, the A320neo and the 737 MAX, have been raised for a host of reasons. Furthermore, when you do consider that there are ongoing restrictions, it's meant that the aircraft hasn't made quite the splash outside of China as of yet that maybe the manufacturer had hoped for. In the future, China Eastern has made it clear that it will look to fly the C919 much further and better than ever. By year's end, they hope to have 10 total COMAC jets in their fleet, and there is obviously a demand for an aircraft type like this. When you take a look at the forecasted fleet estimates and also need for renewal, there is a requirement for around 10,000 new passenger jets in the next 2 decades, with a large bulk of these being single aisle. When you do consider the options, there are really only a handful, and COMAC really wants to insert itself into the discussion, but there are pretty hefty requirements around COMAC being able to do this successfully. How will the scaling up of production work? Will it ever truly be able to make a name for itself outside of China? Well, it's got these objectives, but only time will tell. You can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. El Al is reportedly finally nearing a decision on purchasing new aircraft. This pretty hefty aircraft order has been long rumored and discussed internally by key executives, with them being pretty upfront saying that they need new short-haul aircraft to bolster their operations across future decades. Previously, El Al had pitched Airbus and Boeing to basically put forward their best alternative. You would imagine that then the A320neo and the 737 MAX were put forward as the favourites. However, a decision on which direction to take has been delayed considerably. The airline cites ongoing conflict as a reason why finalisation has been unable to occur sooner. Now, thanks to comments from the Chief Financial Officer, they are nearing that firm confirmation on which aircraft they will select for, as touched on, 30 total units. The decision is expected to be made in a couple of weeks at best. Notably as well, the airline's decision-making comes at the same time as it reported its first quarter financials, which has seen the airline swing towards a first quarter profit, with revenue rising by 48% to 738 million due to increased passenger load factors. Despite these significant improvements year over year, the airline has reaffirmed its stance that it wants foreign airlines to resume flying to the location. El Al says that if more airlines return, they would be under a significant amount of less pressure, because at the moment they say they're running at complete capacity. Ultimately, demand is outpacing the capacity they can offer, and El Al cannot meet it. However, many foreign airlines we know have long suspended services to Israel or potentially returned and then pulled their flights again, really focusing on the safety of their passengers, crew, and aircraft. El Al only has just over 40 aircraft to its name, and while this fleet on a normal day-to-day basis would serve them well, the rapid increase in market share that they've seen because of all these airlines leaving has meant they've been unable to cater to the demand. As cited by the airline, its operations to and from Israel were previously contested quite hotly with foreign airlines, but now they're gone, and El Al's numbers have risen. That's going to conclude today's aviation news recap. If you have any thoughts, you're more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. I do greatly appreciate it. I hope you are taking care and also being safe. I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow for your latest industry developments. And we'll fly.